Hey, everybody. Welcome back to a podcast with Teresa Youngstrom, Memory Care with Teresa Youngstrom. So excited that you're here. And today we're going to have a personal journey, a personal walk with someone who had Alzheimer's, someone who loved someone through the journey, about the backstory, the middle story, and then how the season wrapped up and that there's life after this amazing journey with someone living with memory change and Alzheimer's. So I want to introduce my guest today, and that is Chet Rogenski. Let me tell you about Chet, because we're going to talk not just about Chet, but we're going to talk about the book that he's written about this journey. And here's the book right here. I want to tell you, The Longest Staircase, right? And Alzheimer's Journey. It's incredible. But let me just tell you a little bit about his bio, okay? Husband of Pamela Rogenski, father, grandfather, author, has been his wife's primary caregiver throughout her long illness. His knowledge of caregiving is attributed to Pam's doctors, caregivers, hospice nurses, friends, family, and their experiences. The author's training as an engineer gives him an inherent ability to problem solve. So, you engineers out there, you have an advantage um, to problem solve and plan for the unexpected. Throughout his professional background, his focus was on continuous improvement in his industry as an industrial engineer and an adjunct professor at the University of Cincinnati, Claremont College, teaching manufacturing courses. This training and experience has carried over into his private life and specifically into his devoted, loving care of his wife, always finding ways to make his wife her quality of life through this journey more enduring. The author's deep faith has been a major part of his ability to endure as well. The author gives us deep insights in preparation for each stage of the illness, even while being thrown curveball after curveball. What unfolds in the journey of trials and errors, struggles, pain, and sorrow, yet moments of sheer joy. Thank you, Chet Rogenski, for taking the time to be with me today.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, this has really been a journey, and I guess we met at church,
Yes.
at Parkside Christian Church, and I'll never forget the day that you came up to me and told me about Pam and about the diagnosis and about where we were headed.
Yes.
And then updates and more updates and more
12
updates. And
year,
I was
12-year battle. Yes.
12-year battle.
Yes.
Wow. More than a decade of decline. Yeah. Was
Diagnosed
it?
in 2015, but exhibited signs at least 2 years before then.
Yeah.
As,
Oh, definitely.
as a family, we were in
Definitely.
denial. You know, the emotions, the diverse emotions of joy and sorrow, are spread throughout the journey. It's the diverse emotions that's prevalent throughout the happiness on one hand and the sorrow on the other. They go hand in hand in this journey.
Absolutely. And you had to learn so much as a caregiver.
Yes. And the appendix section lists supplies that I purchased, supplies that hospice purchased, words of wisdom at the end with sources where I got the information from. And that's all listed in the appendix and the afterword. But the story itself is a combination of a narrative or love story and then the final journal. I had 3 years of journaling that captivates the last three chapters of her life. And that's where we really get into the very, very personal and deep, deep emotions that come through at the last three chapters.
Right. And it's so amazing for you to hang it out there too and put it into words and put it into print. And would you say it was therapeutic? Well,
Yes,
probably
it was.
therapeutic to journal it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, journaling for sure, but I really wanted to do those last three chapters first and just, get through that part of it, which was the toughest part. And then I took a recorder and recorded with her family, their formative years. And that was so much fun.
Wow.
Her 99-year-old mother, her brother, her brothers gave me just so much history, rich history of her family. And that's in the beginning.
It is rich history.
Yes,
I can attest to it. It's incredible. And I grew up in this area, so I think it meant even more to me.
yes.
Really, really
Yes.
incredible. What were your goals, though, when you wrote this book? What were your goals?
Well, the goals were primarily to honor Pam,
Okay.
help me through the journey, and to help others. And in helping others is to show a caregiver what to expect, that there is hope, that they are having some guidance through this reading, and help them through the grief. So that helped me. It's going to help somebody else. It's also going to help professionals what it's like to go through this deep, deep journey. The doctors, paraprofessionals, nurses, what's that like? What's it feel like? And so also to give awareness to Alzheimer's. WLW is every hour on the hour they're running an ad for UC Health on Alzheimer's,
Right.
and that's been
Right.
going on for the last 2 weeks on WLW. The statistics are frightening. 1 in 9, age 65 and over, are coming down with this illness. 7 million Americans 65 and over have Alzheimer's.
Wow.
So,
And that's
I mean,
just Alzheimer's. That's not the other diagnosis.
this is just Alzheimer's. There's other dementias.
Oh, yeah.
Alzheimer's is
Lots.
the primary one that exhibits the most people. And 2/3, this is frightening. 2/3 are actually women. 2/3 of the Alzheimer's people are women.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's the awareness. The statistics are in the book, in the beginning, the preface. So it's all there.
Yeah.
It's all there to help somebody about the awareness.
I can think of, it seemed like every time you came to me, there was another description of her decline.
Yes.
I'll never forget when she was struggling to, well, first of all, I loved that her favorite color was purple and you always had her dressed in purple. I loved that.
That's the Alzheimer's
And,
color.
and, um, but I specifically remember a time when she was struggling with the carpet
Oh, yes.
and the pattern in the carpet. And this is a symptom that a lot of people overlook is that visual disturbance
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
that you can feel like either a rug on the floor or a pattern on the floor could be a hole or multiple holes, a grate, and that it was upsetting to her.
Well, the kids gave us a cruise on the riverboat down down the Ohio River. We were enjoying this cruise. This was in the middle stages of her disease. And coming back, it was dusk. Coming off the boat was this very safe gangplank.
Yeah.
Pam froze up on the railing. She
Oh
thought
my
she was going
goodness.
to fall in the water.
Yeah.
I'm going to fall. She was screaming in panic. Her depth perception was the major issue. And
Yes.
it took the crew from the ship and people around to, Pam, and you're going to be safe. Just, trying to assure her. And finally, we got her off the railing.
Wow.
Those kind of things are, the depth perception is a common thing with Alzheimer's.
Yeah,
And
and
it's
it goes
something,
from loss of peripheral vision
yeah.
to a scuba mask, and then it can go to binocular vision, then to a monocular and depth perception, and
Yes.
it can be progressive, and we're not even realizing what's
Not
going
realizing it.
on.
I didn't
And,
realize it until she had these face plants. One at church on the carpet. Face
yep,
planted, just flat
yep,
carpet.
yep. Was she
And
shuffling her feet at that point?
she was still walking.
Still walking.
She
Okay.
didn't shuffle until we actually had to move into the condo.
Okay.
And at that point, I was holding her hand everywhere we went.
Yes, of course.
And the stages progressed where it was into a wheelchair wherever we went. That was still panic. She still had these panic attacks
Hmm.
until finally she could not hold herself up. Then we had to confine her to a bed. She was confined to a bed for a year and a half before she passed.
We say confined, but I think she was content in the
She
bed.
was content. Yes,
And I think
exactly.
that's different than being
Yeah.
confined to the bed. And I
Yes.
want to tell people that it's like, but she wasn't unhappy in the bed.
No.
She was content in the bed.
It
And
took her a few
that's a
days.
great point to give people is that we need to accommodate them even when to us that seems like we're putting them in a prison to, you know, force them to stay in the bed. But like I remember you asking me about that, and I said, well, as long as you have help, and we're going to change her position frequently, and her skin isn't going to break down, and we're going to raise her up and put her down, and
Right.
turn her, and all those things, then if she's content in the bed,
Always gave her the assurance that she's safe. You're safe with me, Pam.
yep,
We're not going to move. We're not going to leave this place. Um, she always had that feeling of safety. I mean, at first for the first few days in bed, she was confused, upset. And, we finally, after a few days, she became more and more safe.
good.
And that prevailed for the next year and a half.
Nice. Well,
Yeah.
and I think she probably became more and more familiar with this surroundings and
Yes.
okay, this is my space and this isn't going to change. Because
Yes.
it's true that when we move people that have brain change, when people have memory loss and then we move them to a different location, they can definitely spiral down.
Very confused. Yes.
Because if their hippocampus isn't sticky anymore, if information can't come and stay
Yes.
and go from short term back to long term, then
Plus,
it's a new place every time. It's very frightening to wake up and think, where am I?
is that now that you brought up the emotion and memory connection.
Yeah.
This is what's key. What I found out is when I created this feeling of safety with Pam,
Yeah.
that emotion transferred to a memory. So it kept that feeling of safety planted in that hippocampus. It went from the
Nice.
amygdala, which is where the emotions are,
Yeah.
to the hippocampus. And so if someone is angry and frustrated and thrashing out at the caregiver,
Yeah.
give them a feeling of safety
Yes.
to overcome that feeling of anger.
Anger. Right.
Pam didn't exhibit too much anger. I mean, she was mostly happy throughout this whole
Good.
journey.
Yep.
And that's why I wanted to reach back into her formative years. Why was she so happy? So that
Yeah.
came out really, really strong throughout the whole book. The themes of happiness, her emotions, our
Because she
faith.
was a happy camper all
Yeah.
those years.
But not everyone is that way. I mean, this is true with most patients with Alzheimer's is that they do exhibit this anger and wanting to wander. And so it's so important to help overcome that with strong feelings of positive emotions,
Hmm.
love, touching. Touching is so
Hmm.
magic
Yeah.
with Alzheimer's. It's
Right.
the magic uh, love message
Yep.
is that
They just
touch.
need to accept your touch. They need
Yes,
to know you're coming into touch.
yes.
We don't startle or we mess
Yeah,
up.
you want to make sure that's
Yeah.
acceptable. Right.
Accepting. Yeah, they're accepting the
Yes.
touch. And then I agree 100%.
Right.
Sometimes we come in too fast and the startle factor happens and we
Yeah.
blow it. Um,
Right.
so, oh, so good. Really, really good. These are just great insights that so
And
many people are
all those points are out in the book, and
good.
it's there to help this caregiver, help the doctors. What's it like? You know, it's all there.
It's all there and it's a lot of information. I love it. I am there's a lot of wisdom and a lot of fruit in this book and I want other
Thank you.
people to know that. So, as a first-time author,
Yes.
how'd the project get started?
Well, again, I started with the journal, and there was no inkling of writing a book when I was writing the journal.
Oh, no. Okay.
I mean,
I wondered when I
started the
wonder when the
journal,
light bulb went on.
started the journal in January of 2023.
Okay.
No
Wow.
inclination of writing the book. It wasn't until June of 24 that, oh, okay, this is going to help somebody. I started reading other books,
Yep.
Dear Judy, Still Alice, and
Yep.
so many others. I probably read 12 or so books.
Yep.
And so, okay, I can do this. This is going to help somebody.
Yes.
So all of a sudden, I got this vision of a cover. The cover came first before any words went down.
No
I
kidding.
started sketching a step. It came to me one morning. Now that's what the artist did with my publishing company, Cincinnati Book Publishing.
You get the
They
glare.
transferred my sketch, which was kind of a wonky stair step
Mm-hmm.
sketch, to that. And they
Beautiful.
did an amazing transformation
I love it.
of my sketch. But so before any words went down, that's what happened. And then June of 24, I kept post-it notes at my bedside, waking up at 4 a.m. with ideas and interviews with family and friends with a recorder. Just it was just full steam ahead, 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. I'm not a typist, so it
Yeah.
was a two-finger deal all the way through this.
Oh, wow.
So this is probably it as far as books. So first time and last time author, but that's okay. This has been quite a journey. Even the marketing of the book,
Hmm.
that journey has been exciting.
Good for you. And
More
I
than
just really believe it's just, you know,
yes,
so therapeutic
yes,
to do this. And it puts purpose behind what you went through, you know, to then turn it around and use it to serve someone else.
yes.
I believe that with what I went through serving my mom and now my dad, and then to be able to use that then to serve others, it gives purpose to that, you know, to
There was a lot of encouragement. People, before I even started writing the book, I would pose the idea to
yeah,
people around
yeah,
the condo. They would say, "Hey, I think that's a great idea. It's going to help
yeah,
someone." So there was a lot
yeah.
of encouragement from friends, family, everyone, just all the way through. Family, my kids. Of course, they read the manuscript and had a few changes to make, but it's been so wonderful. And I probably reread this story over and over and over again because it's just a wonderful journey to take again and again with Pam.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Um, how is memory affected in someone with Alzheimer's? In your opinion, what did you
Well,
see?
uh, it was amazing what I saw
Yeah, in
because
Pam's story, how did it happen?
she actually reached back into her recesses
So
at
they could
time.
see back in time.
Let me give you an example.
It was cool.
It's humorous in a way because when she was growing up, they would take trips with her family out west. Her father was a drill sergeant in the Marines.
Yep.
Wonderful guy,
You guys have to get this book. I've read this and it's so good. You got to
hard,
get the book.
crusty guy on the outside, but okay, they would take trips and four kids in the back, and they would start acting up, and he would say, "Okay, knock it off back there, you knuckleheads." Fast forward, Pam's in bed, and I'm at the end of my rope at the end of the day, changing her,
Hmm.
and I'm
Hmm.
not being as kind and gentle as I should be.
Okay.
And she blurted out, "You knucklehead!" So she's reaching back
And you'd never heard her use that
50
term.
some, no, 50 some plus years to
Amazing.
that memory.
And you
And there's
knucklehead.
other instances in the book. It's just amazing. Yeah.
Right. And what was your first evidence that there was a problem?
Oh, we took a lot of trips to LA to visit our kids.
Like in your retired season of life?
This was 20, actually before my retired season,
Okay.
27, 29, 2013. Before she was diagnosed, our last
Okay.
trip to LA, my daughter-in-law said to me, "Pam's been swearing a lot. She's never done this before, and she's repeating herself." So we
Oh,
attributed this to a busy day. We went to a couple of concerts. We saw Andrea Bocelli at the Hollywood Bowl.
cool.
And so it was a tiring trip, but a wonderful trip. And so we attributed that to just tiredness.
Hmm.
But it wasn't until she retired in 2013 from her paraprofessional job. Her teachers were noticing her coming in late to the classroom. She would come in on time to her job, to school, perfectly in her makeup and everything. She was always so perfect, beautiful, radiant all the time. And so she would be coming in late to each of her classrooms. She would go from classroom to classroom. And so we got word of this At first, we attributed to just, okay, it's tiredness, the end of the season, but we did question her about this. And we said to Pam, maybe you should, schedule an appointment with a geriatrician. And
Sure.
she said, okay, I'll give him a call. But she never did. Finally, I did set up an appointment. That's when they gave her this verbal test to indicate, yes, there's memory decline, but not necessarily a disease issue.
Mm-hmm.
Not until she had an MRI that revealed the brain
Okay.
protein, the
Yeah.
tangles, and so forth. So forth. That was in 2015 when she was diagnosed.
Okay.
And, it was denial, it was anger, it was suicide discussions.
Oh,
I mean, it was, that was tough at the beginning. But Dr. Graff was so, so wonderful.
good.
The Christ Hospital
Good.
memory care.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That is excellent.
Yeah.
What message of hope will you give? What message of hope are you hoping to share with, say, another husband out there? What would you like to tell the other husbands out there?
This is a journey. It has a beginning and an end. Um, at first, I kept thinking, okay, this is not a way I should spend my retirement years. But I come to realize and accept this journey. And only then will you realize, okay, there's humor. There's humor in this journey. There's sadness and sorrow and grief. All that goes, but that is part of this living this journey to the fullest. Because through that grief, you find some humor. There's ways that you can have humor with this lady that you love, this person that
Well, these huge challenges grow us in ways
yes,
we didn't know we need to be
yes,
grown, I think.
you come out of it a better person.
Yep. Now, did you have to
Uh,
add caregivers? Did you bring in help?
well, we did bring in help. I had long-term care insurance that we decided to purchase when Pam retired, before she was diagnosed. Before she had any illness, we thought, okay, let's get this. My parents died early. You never know.
Right.
So we purchased it. Thank goodness. Thank God we did. Because after 90 care days, that's when the insurance kicks in.
Okay.
Once she's diagnosed, there's 90 care days where I had a caregiver come in 2 days a week, which I could handle that financially 2 days a week.
Okay. You had to pay out of pocket for
Out
90
of pocket
days.
for 90 care days. Then the insurance with Omaha Insurance Company.
Okay.
Some of these plans are complicated, but this one was really good.
Good. Yeah, there are some that are complicated and you got to read all the fine print. Yes, absolutely.
So they
Okay.
kicked in insurance that I could project out. They would provide care. Being a numbers guy again, projected out for 3 years, $180 a day.
Okay.
So that covered about 75 to 80% of the care that was coming in
Okay.
5 days a week, from
And did you keep,
8
go
o'clock in the
ahead.
morning till 3 in the afternoon.
Okay.
Then I would take over. If I had to go out, I was not gone for more than 2 hours. If I had to go exercise or groceries or
Hmm.
hit some golf balls, which is so important to maintain your health,
You have to take
so,
care of you too.
so you can provide,
Hmm.
because it's hard work. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
when I'm
Emotionally,
changing her on the
physically.
weekends, it's five changes a day, turning her
When you
and
say
changing her.
changes, I want everyone to understand those are diaper changes.
Yes,
Those are diaper changes,
5
y'all.
changes a day,
Yeah.
um, plus laundry, plus taking care of bills, plus cleaning the house. All that stuff.
Hmm.
And it was really, really in the beginning getting to me from an anxiety standpoint.
Okay. All
So
right.
my doctor put me on
Okay.
Zola for
Okay.
anxiety.
All right.
So it really, really was important to
Very
maintain
transparent.
your doctor appointments and your health.
Okay. Oh, yeah, because it can take you down.
Physically, keep yourself in shape because turning her, uh, it's dead weight.
Yeah, it is.
And so you want to be as gentle and turning her as slow as possible. Not trying, and telling her exactly what you're doing each time you do this so that she
What good
knows in
advice.
advance.
Good advice.
She knows in advance exactly what you're doing.
Mhm.
Maintain the feeling of safety. Uh, so important.
Yeah, good job. Yeah, you don't want her to feel like she's falling.
Right. Right.
Yeah, really good. Now, was your goal all along to keep her at home for the duration, or were you just gonna play it by ear?
When she was mobile, we visited some places, some care places,
Okay.
and
Okay.
uh, you know, I would have to go live there with her to make it financially doable. But
Okay.
I did not like the price tag.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Keeping her at home was the ultimate goal.
Okay.
Keeping her at home.
Good job.
And
Yeah.
Alzheimer's Association is saying that 80% of care is in the home.
Yeah.
80% of caregiving is in the home. People want to
It's
stay there.
true, and that's why we need to keep educating because not everybody knows what to do, and
Yes,
we've got a lot of folks that are winging it just because they haven't been taught,
I
and
was
they don't
winging
know
it.
where to
Yeah,
go to get information. I'm really hoping that this will enlighten some
I
other
was winging it.
families.
People would give me advice. One of our best friends, when Pam was mobile and I had to transfer her into the tub,
Mhm.
you had to step over the tub.
Oh, yeah.
So this friend of ours recommended this chair that's on a sliding bar.
Yep.
Pam would sit on this chair.
Inside and
The chair would
outside.
swivel, and I would slide her into the tub.
Mhm.
So had this person not recommended this device, the struggle that would have been. So these devices are in the book.
Good, way to
All,
go.
all these devices that I purchased, and including this air mattress that has pulsating air pockets.
Nice. To alternate
That
pressures.
that brand is in the book. What to purchase, and that kept her. She never had a sore on her back. Never one single sore on her back. Nothing.
That's incredible.
Yeah, for a year and a half in
You
bed.
gave her stellar care.
A year and a half in
Just
bed.
incredible.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. And you hung in there, didn't give up. So amazing. And so there at the end, did you bring hospice in at the end?
Well, we had hospice. Hospice was in and out for
Mm,
3 years.
okay.
Of
Same
course,
thing with my mom.
they were in. I would say for the last 6 months, solid. Without, no
Mhm.
question, they were there. So
Yep.
they would come in at least one day a week for nursing care. So they would take her vital signs. Bathing was 3 days a week from hospice.
Mhm. Nice.
They provided grief counseling for me, which I'm still in.
Good.
That was for the last 3 years, plus for the next, I'd say, 9 months.
Good for you.
Awesome care.
Yes.
A social worker, a pastor, a musician,
Yes.
which was so beautiful when she came in with her guitar.
Mhm.
We asked her to please play the old Christian hymns for Pam. She sung and played her guitar for
Oh,
Pam.
nice.
And Pam, I mean, even though she was in deep sleep most of the time, she was
Right.
so awed by that experience.
Music
And
is a wonderful
oh
tool.
yeah,
Yeah. Music. Yeah.
absolutely,
Rhythm, prayer. Those are wonderful tools we sometimes don't think about
exactly,
for people with brain
yeah.
change. Yeah. Good job.
Just talking about her horseback riding days.
Oh.
But Dr. Graff, his advice was don't say, do you remember when? Because at
Yay.
times that can give her anxiety
Oh,
when she
sure.
could
Don't
not
use the
remember.
remember word. Good job.
Don't use that remember word. Just
Yeah.
simply bring up the past, show pictures, and
Yeah.
talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That horse you had named whatever was a beautiful horse. Yeah.
yeah,
And then see if it triggers something.
yes.
Yeah. So great. Yeah. They can really go back in time. And it's a great place to live with them. Why not? And who
Talk about
cares?
those old times.
Yeah, if it brings them joy, why not go back there?
Exactly.
I agree 100%.
And any disease, whether it's Alzheimer's or cancer, whatever it is, talk about those experiences with that person in bed. Have them take that vacation while they're lying in bed. Have them
Yeah.
take that little vacation.
Yes.
I mean, that's, if you're a visitor to somebody that's lying in bed
Yeah.
and you don't know what to say, walk in there and talk and just don't try to come up with something to say. Just be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Give them the feeling of love and happiness and
Mm-hmm.
help them remember vacations and all that kind of
Mm-hmm.
stuff as a visitor. I mean, don't be reluctant to visit
Oh,
because people
absolutely. People are afraid too. They
people
are
are
afraid.
afraid to come in. What am I going to say? Will she remember
Yeah,
me?
what if I don't know what to do or say?
Yeah,
And
don't I say don't worry about that. Just come in and be yourself. Just sitting with them, they can sense your presence.
yeah, I frequently catch myself saying, well, if they say that and they're confused, I would just say, huh, I'm glad you told me that. Or,
Yeah,
huh, I never thought of it that way.
live in
Huh.
their world.
Yeah, jump in their world.
Jump in their world.
Absolutely.
Jump in their world. Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely jump
Yeah.
in their world. All
Go
right.
ahead.
So, how can my audience find your book, find you? Can we talk, please, before we have to wrap up? This has gone by so quickly, and it's been such a treat for me to get to share
Go ahead.
with you. Tell me about your website and where people can find your book, or if you're going to be talking somewhere about your book, just share all that information with
Sure,
us,
sure.
and I'll make sure and get it in the show notes too.
Okay. All right. Well, try to remember the three N's.
Okay.
Noblenarrative.net.
NobleNarrative.net. Got it.
That's my website. It takes you through the deeper dive into what the book is about, and you scroll to the end, and that's where you can purchase the book from my website. It's a very simple, very easy for the purchaser to go through and purchase the book.
Yep.
So that's
It's an easy read. It's a timeline.
yes.
Um, yeah, you'll be glad you did.
So I am having my next public authors talk is at the Cincinnati Rec Center in Oakley, Saturday afternoon. I believe that's July 20 or June. I'm sorry, June 21st. June 21st, Saturday afternoon from 3 to 4. So I'm
Nice.
hoping folks would come out and come to my authors talk.
Yep. And you get an autographed copy that way, just so
Autographed
you know.
copy. Yes.
Yeah. All right. This has been great. I'll have all that information. I'll put that in the show notes so the folks know how to get in touch with you. And I wouldn't be surprised if you get a family member who wants to reach out and have a conversation with you, who needs hope, who may be just entering into the journey of doing this with their loved one.
Thank you
And
so much.
yeah, just need to get started. Way to go. Kudos to you, Chet. You did it, and it was hard. And God bless Pam. God bless you. And I'm just thankful she had you for this journey.
Oh, she's
Yeah.
she's still radiant. Pictures
Mm,
scroll on my screen with her. She's
yep.
such a radiant beauty. Thank you so
She
much.
is. My pleasure. Hey, everybody. Thanks for being here today. Thanks for watching this. I know that you found this engaging, and I know you're going to run out and buy this book because it is so, so wonderful. Again, remember to check out our podcast, the other podcast we have out there. Be sure and go to the website, teresayoungstrom.com, and we need you to like and share and subscribe so we can keep growing. You know, we are entering into our third season. Yes, we have over 100 podcasts out there published at this point, and I'm very excited to report that. And so, as always, keep in mind, you got this.